Manchester City 1, Chelsea 0. That's how it finished in the FA Cup semi-final today at Wembley, as Bernardo Silva's strike is the final dagger in the hearts of Chelsea fans' season. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another video. Yesterday's going to centre around the big FA Cup game that took place at Wembley today between Manchester City and Chelsea. Huge game for both of these sides with huge implications for the rest of their season. Both teams challenging for the domestic cup. City looking to defend their FA Cup crown. Chelsea looking to make it to another domestic cup final. And it's ended in heartbreak for Chelsea, and they have Bernardo Silva to thank for that. He may have missed his penalty in midweek, but he's redeemed himself here by being the hero on the day and has helped City to another FA Cup final. Pep Guardiola's side are on course to defend their FA Cup crown and to retain their FA Cup crown for this season, as well as obviously challenge for the Premier League. They could be on for another domestic double in the waiting. We're going to be talking about the game. We're going to be talking about both of these sides, where both sides go from here and everything else in between. But before we go any further, I would like to remind you all, please like the video and also subscribe if you're new. Both things will always and forever be greatly appreciated. And also I encourage you to get involved in the comments section. Let me know your thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it in regards to anything and everything that happened today in regards to the FA Cup. Manchester City, Chelsea, everything else in between. You know the score by now. And if you don't, where have you been? Would love and appreciate you all to do any of those things that I've said. But without further ado, let's get on with the video. Let's get on with talking about Chelsea. Let's get on with talking about Manchester City. Look, it became more and more predictable what was going to happen the later the game wore on. Chelsea set up pretty well. Chelsea had the better of the opportunities, but City was seemingly biding their time, and they just seemingly knew that all they needed was one chance. And in typical Chelsea fashion, what we have said about Chelsea all season is they simply don't take their chances, and that's exactly what happened here. Obviously, the big news at the beginning of the game was that there was no Erling Haaland for City. Allegedly picked up an injury, wasn't even on the bench. That was big in itself. But even so, I didn't think City turned up and played particularly great today. They just turned up and took their chances when it mattered most. And Chelsea, you could tell they were lacking confidence. You could tell that in front of goal they were naive. And that's exactly how it turned out today. I thought City did well in neutralising the main threats of the likes of Cole Palmer. It allowed other threats to maybe go and venture forward. Nicholas Jackson, prime example, because they seemingly knew that no matter what kind of position Nicholas Jackson found himself in front of goal, he was going to miss. And that is exactly how it panned out. They did well to neutralise Cole Palmer for the most part. There was still a few moments here and there where Palmer's quality shined through, but there wasn't enough from Chelsea in regards to a killer instinct up front that, of course, City had at the other end. Bernardo Silva's strike has ended Chelsea's season and has wiped out the final glimmer of hope that Chelsea fans were clinging on to in regards to what may have turned out to be a successful season in terms of silverware. May not be in terms of the league, but in terms of silverware, this was the last glimmer of hope that has now been completely wiped out by Pep Guardiola and Bernardo Silva. Look, I don't want to hear today nothing about Pochettino. For me, Pochettino, to do what he did today with what he has at his disposal and really give City a decent game, you can maybe pick fault in maybe minor things, but at the end of the day, he's not the guy on the pitch that's forcing Nicholas Jackson to miss these chances. He's not there on the pitch forcing Enzo Fernandez into having a poor game. £106 million Enzo Fernandez, that, by the way, he didn't even buy. So, Chelsea fans, you may not like Pochettino, you may want Pochettino out. I 100% get that. I personally think you should stick with him, and I think you should show some form of patience, and I've said that time and time again this season. Whether you think he's the right guy or not, I think is a little bit irrelevant to this particular conversation about today. Because personally, in my opinion, today was about your players not being good enough. And I think it's about time Chelsea fans, whilst they should focus their anger and frustration at the board, they should also focus the majority of their anger and frustration at the players as well for not being good enough. There is bags of potential there. Don't get me wrong. There is bags of potential there, and maybe with more age and experience, some, not all, some of those players may reach their level, may reach higher levels, may grow, they may evolve, they may get better. But right now, it's obviously not a team that is unified enough, or is clinical enough, or is a well-oiled machine enough to challenge the likes of Manchester City on a consistent basis for Premier League titles, for any sort of trophy. It's just not there. And the anger should be on the players, the anger should be on the board and the recruitment side of things for recruiting those players and not bringing in some experience, not bringing in someone with a killer instinct in front of goal. You give anybody else in the Premier League those kinds of chances that Nicholas Jackson had today, at least one of them, maybe two of them, find the back of the net. The one in the first half where he rounds the goalkeeper and then doesn't shoot, crazy to me. It shows you how naive he is. It shows you how little confidence he has within him, that he didn't even have the shot. He turned back around to try and play someone else in. That is poor to me, especially because he made the decision not to try and finish it, but to go around the goalkeeper. Madness to me. The second one, good save from the goalkeeper. Maybe he should have done better. The third one, he definitely should have done better with the header. Like, those are the three main chances. I didn't think Madueke had a good game. Like I say, Cole Palmer was okay in places, but I think City did well to neutralise him for the most part. Enzo Fernandez and Caicedo, again, Caicedo was meh. Enzo Fernandez was terrible. Just not there at all. Like, honestly, I think he misses a certain Argentinian midfielder alongside him. Well, actually, they both do, don't they? Both Caicedo and McAllister miss a certain Argentine midfielder alongside them in Alexis McAllister. But hey, I'll keep my Liverpool agenda on the side for this one. No. In all seriousness, again, I don't really think the goalkeeper had much to do other than pick the ball at the back of the net. I think he had a decent save from Foden, and I think he made a good save in the first half as well. But other than that, I don't think City were at their clinical best either. They weren't at their ferocious best either. But like I say, they bided their time, and eventually they just had that one moment, and it was Bernardo Silva who put the ball away into the back of the net. He's the hero on the day, and especially after being the villain in midweek for what was a pretty atrocious penalty in the penalty shootout defeat against Real Madrid in the Champions League that saw City dumped out of that competition as the holders. He really did redeem himself here today. Now, of course, City fans will probably prefer to have the Champions League over the FA Cup, but that obviously cannot happen, so they have to make do with this. And like I say, in knockout competitions, it's not necessarily how you play, it's how you take your chances when they arrive. And right now, and in this game, what you saw was a clear indication of that. What you saw was a class of difference between taking your chances and not taking your chances in comparison to these two teams. What you saw today was a Chelsea side that, for the most part, looked okay until they got to the final third. When they got to the final third, they absolutely panicked and they bottled situation time and time again. And City were just there like, right, well, we're just dealing with this. Whether it's our goalkeeper, whether it's our defenders, we're dealing with this. We just have to keep biding our time, keep probing, and eventually we will get an opportunity to score. And it's about whether we take that opportunity. And Bernardo Silva, he comes up clutch big time in big games. He has done throughout the years of being a Manchester City player. This guy pops up time and time again, and that's exactly what he did here. Right place, right time. Just swept the ball home and was proven the hero. And you got the sense that this had 1-0 Man City written all over it. Once you see the chances that Chelsea were missing time and time again throughout the entirety of the game, you just knew that City were going to have one real opportunity, and they were going to take it. And that is exactly what happened. I did think City got a bit fortunate. I did think that there was maybe a very controversial handball appeal against Jack Grealish that wasn't given. I feel like City got away with one there, and I don't know what is handball and what isn't handball anymore. The same way that I don't know what's a foul and what isn't a foul, what's red card, what isn't a red card, all of that stuff. I don't know what anything is anymore in regards to any of that stuff, because there's just been so many controversial decisions like that are being given out so inconsistently, whether for or against, and I don't know anymore. It's baffling to me. I think Chelsea can feel a little bit hard done by that, but at the end of the day, they really should have took their chances. That shouldn't be the be-all and end-all of why Chelsea lost today, why Chelsea got knocked out of the FA Cup. The be-all and end-all is that your players are simply not good enough, and your finishers up front are lacking confidence. Lacking confidence and lacking a clinical edge. And that's basically the be-all and end-all of it. I don't want to hear nothing about Pochettino. You can maybe argue about some decisions that he made in terms of the team setup, maybe in terms of his substitutions, maybe things of that nature. Maybe they are nitpicky, but you really should be focused on your recruitment, on your board, and on the players that so many Chelsea fans, and maybe I'm not talking to all Chelsea fans when I say this, but certain Chelsea fans do completely overrate your players for the pure evidence of their price tag. Mainly. The amount of times that I hear people go on about Mykhailo Mudryk and Enzo Fernandez, two big ones for real big money, that have not performed consistently at all in their Chelsea careers so far, and Chelsea fans overrate them to the point where rival fans are questioning, what do you see that we're not? Where were they today? Mudryk came off the bench, didn't really do a lot. In fact, put in a terrible set piece right at the end. Right when it really mattered most, to obviously try and salvage extra time, maybe. Yeah. It was dreadful. And, like I say, Chelsea fans, I don't want to see you go too hard on Pochettino, because it's not mainly down to Pochettino. He's having to deal with what he's having to deal with, what he's having to work with that squad. And it's just not experienced enough, it's not clinical enough, and it's probably not overall good enough to be challenging for these kinds of things. You got dealt a bad card, bad hand there, whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it from certain Chelsea fans. For City, look, they got through. They weren't great by any stretch of the imagination. They weren't amazing. They weren't perfect. And I'm sure Guardiola will definitely have his say on the training ground behind closed doors on just how awkward that City performance was overall. But like I say, they took their chance when they got it. They got through. Bernardo Silva comes up clutch yet again for Manchester City. A big player, a huge player, and of course with him looking likely to leave Manchester City in the summer, you probably would imagine that this is probably going to be one of his final contributions to the season. They got through. Congratulations to them. Through to another final, through to defend their crown, their FA Cup crown in the final. And you would expect them to go on and win it from this point. 90 to 95% chance of probably going on to win it now, in my personal opinion, no matter who they get in the other semi-final. If it's Manchester United, you know that they're absolutely going to smash them. If it's Coventry, you know that they're going to probably beat them as well. So I think overall, no matter who they get, no matter who wins tomorrow's semi-final at Wembley between Man United and Coventry, City have won. I'm praying for a huge upset in the form of Coventry for the final. I'm obviously hoping that Coventry, as the favourites tomorrow, beat the underdogs in Manchester. No, I can't say that. I can't say that. No. Coventry are the underdogs going into both of these two games, if obviously they beat United tomorrow and get through to the final. So I'm obviously praying for a magical FA Cup story, a magical underdog story, and I'm praying that Coventry can get the job done. But I think we have to look at the reality in the favourites in this competition of being Manchester City and say, you know what? Guardiola's side have probably gone on to retain their FA Cup. It's sad, it's annoying, it's ridiculous, but there we have it. And, the only way I'll be cheering on Manchester City is if they get Man United in the final. So, yeah, there you have it. There you have it. City probably gone on to win it. They weren't at their clinical best today, but Bernardo Silva is the hero for City, and he extinguishes any remaining hope that Chelsea's season can be turned around with FA Cup glory. That's not on the cards anymore. That's not going to happen anymore. It's all City's for the taking after a 1-0 triumph at Wembley today in the semi-final of the FA Cup. There you have it, guys. Those are just the thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it, of this guy. I want to know what you guys think. What do you think of the FA Cup semi-final today between Chelsea and Manchester City? What did you make of City performance? What did you make of Chelsea performance? What did you make of the result? What do you make of the FA Cup now going forward? Who do you think City will face in the final? Let me know in the comment section down below. Let me know your thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it. That'll make for great and interesting reading, I'm sure, down below. Please do get involved down there. It would be great to hear from you all. Otherwise, hit the like button on the way out. If you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you're new and want to see more content like this. Both things are always and very greatly appreciated. And as always, thank you all so much for watching and listening. I've been Fletch. This has been another Fletch Talks video. And I will see you and speak to you all again soon in another video or live stream or whatever it may be. Cheers, guys. Thanks everyone for watching. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. Speak to you all again in a bit.